Welcome to episode number 58 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co-host, Dr. Games 101.
Hey there, guys. What's going on?
And we're going to be talking about the latest news in gaming that happened over the last 2 weeks and give you our opinions. You ready to start?
But before we do, Triple J, I'll let my host know that I'm currently having technical difficulties right now on this episode. So hopefully, as my next episode, it should be better. So, okay, guys, we can continue on.
Okay. First story coming up. Crash Bandicoot 4 hit Steam this month. New title seemingly teased for the Game Awards. It looks like Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is heading to Steam, with Activision Blizzard announcing the news in unorthodox fashion. The publisher also appears to be teasing the reveal of a new Crash game. The publisher sent a special Crash-themed pizza box from Aku Steam and Pizza Shack to influencers such as YouTuber Canadian Guy A. His unboxing video showed that the box is raped with a not-so-subtle message that Crash 4 heads to Steam on October 18th. The game, which launched in 2020, is currently playable on PC only through Battle.net. Additionally, the box was also raped, that's a weird way to talk about a box, with a message that read, "Hungry for more? Try our new one-per-piece pizza for $12.08. Given that the Game Awards is set to air on December 8th, it appears highly likely we'll find out the nature of this title, rumored to be a party game called Wumpa League, during the annual show. Are you excited to play Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time on Steam? What do you think the rumored new game will be? So, have you played Crash Bandicoot 4?
Unfortunately, not yet. I'm still trying to beat the first Crash Bandicoot of the Insane trilogy on, a regular difficulty, which is basically the only difficulty. And in this game of the first Crash Bandicoot has been remade, I guess you'll call it. It's challenging. The Albert's level where it's a castle level of sorts, and it's way more challenging than I thought. And I was stuck on the other levels, the Bridge to Nowhere, and some other Dr. Cortex labs, things that matter. And they were pretty challenging back when I was younger, and still is to this day now. So until I finished with the Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2, I already beat Crash Bandicoot 3 for so many times when I was younger. I actually was able to beat the other levels, the other 5 extra levels that you unlock after beating Cortex for the first time. So Crash Bandicoot 4 is not going to be no different. At the same time, it will be, because obviously it features the return of Entropy, Engin, Dingo Dial, I think his name is, Tiny Tiger, Coco Bandicoot was your ally, Uka who was your enemy with Dr. Neo Cortex, and then Aku with Crash Bandicoot. So it's going to be an interesting game to play to those who wants to wait and see while doing that game later on, if I have time, hopefully. So.
Yeah, I've never played Crash Bandicoot 4. I never played 3. I played 1, 2, and I played the spin-off.
Okay.
Actually, no, it was a co-op spin-off where Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon teamed up. But that was a party game.
Right.
So I've never played it, but unfortunately, I don't play games on Steam, so this won't mean much to me. And it's only playable on PC now, so I haven't had the chance to play Crash Bandicoot 4. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of fun for people who can play it. As far as the new game coming out, I have no idea. It sounds like it would be better off as a party game.
Crash Bandicoot 4?
No, like the new Wumpa game, whatever that's going to be.
Really?
Because, like I said, I never played Crash Purple, but I played Spyro Orange. Both games connected together. Just the adventure was from one point of view in Crash's game, one point of view in Spyro's game. But they were working together on the same adventure after the first level, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that game was just a bunch of mini games that you had to complete, and then when you complete enough mini games, you could take on the boss. And I know this. I know I'm talking about games that are like 10 years old.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see something like that again.
Okay.
For the new, for the new game coming out.
I didn't know there was a new game coming out for Crash after Crash Bandicoot 4, but okay.
Yeah.
Because Crash Bandicoot 4 came out back as early as, 2021? If not 2020?
2020 is said in the article.
2020?
Yep.
Oh, wow. It's been 2 years this year. Wow. Time flies, guys. I'm sorry. As you can tell, with my own personal career on YouTube, you can tell from how many years of playing with you guys on the YouTube channels. It's a very time consuming to play these games, like in platforming games, like especially Crash Bandicoot or Super Mario, because Crash Bandicoot 3, I mean, it's easier than way easier than the first Crash Bandicoot, but it was still challenging to some extent. You still gotta memorize the levels, memorize your faults, your trials and errors, and eventually you overcome them. And I know one thing certain: Crash Bandicoot 4, even though it's coming to Steam to some people who have never played it before, so it's gonna be a new experience for them to see how much Crash Bandicoot has evolved since the third, if not fourth, Crash Bandicoot, which the fourth one was the Wrath of Cortex. And then obviously the PS2 games onto the PS3 or whatever, those games I heard were not as great because it's made by another company, or at least a subsidiary of a company of sorts, other than Naughty Dog. So, and that's kind of interesting that Naughty Dog has their own accomplishments just making these Crash Bandicoot games. Because I heard that from the first Crash Bandicoot to the second Bandicoot game, it took them not even a year to make the second Bandicoot game. That was pretty interesting, because that's a crunch right there. That's like very challenging for that matter to overcome. And obviously back then the technology is different, but still it's like 9 months is a short period if you're not careful. So yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. Crash Bandicoot 4, people, if they played it, they probably have their opinion. And only time will tell what this new game will be.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it as we find out more.
Definitely.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Next story. Hold on. Okay. Google kills cloud gaming service, announces cloud gaming laptops. That's right. If you first you fail, tweak the strategy and try again. When it comes to launching and shutting down products, nobody does it better. Can we throw mismanaging in there as well? At the end of September, Google shut it down its Stadia gaming platform, an ambitious attempt at letting people play video games without needing any actual video game hardware to play them on. Today, Google announced a new line of Chromebooks with an emphasis on cloud-based gaming. I know these two things aren't directly related. They never are at companies as big as Google. It's not like the same product team threw Stadia in the bin, took a step over to a counter, pulled off a sheet covering a laptop, and said, ta-da! But the optics are still hilarious to us. The people who are just looking on from the sidelines, wondering between Inbox and Google Reader and countless other cool things, just who is actually in charge of the company's overall gaming strategy? That's actually a fair question. Anyway, the new announcement today is that an upcoming line of Chromebooks, a genuinely useful Google product, made in partnership with Acer, Asus, and Lenovo, great, three companies that I don't have any faith in their products. The Chromebooks are made by third parties, have been designed with cloud gaming features specifically in mind. While that doesn't mean much in terms of performance, these are Chromebooks, and we're talking about streaming games, not playing them locally. The three will be doing all they can within those limitations to appeal to games, including shipping with larger screens, 15, 16 inches, and RGB keyboards. Most importantly, though, they're all shipping with 3 different streaming platforms pre-installed and ready to go: Xbox Cloud Gaming, GeForce Now, and Amazon Luna. Which is a very funny and timely way of saying, okay, if you didn't want to play out a cloud gaming service, maybe you'll play someone else's. The Lenovo one will be $599, Acer is $659, and the Asus one doesn't have a price yet. What do you think of Google's next next try at cloud gaming.
Wait, they're redoing this again? They actually reattempted to do another cloud gaming service after not even a few months of their announcement of shutting down the original Stadia?
They're actually they're not doing that. They're developing Chromebooks, which will allow people to use other people's gaming services, Xbox, GeoForce, and Amazon's.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they're ripping off or trying to latch on to other gaming services other than their own.
Right, they couldn't do it well themselves, so now they're saying, "Hey, we'll sell things that let people play other cloud gaming devices or other cloud gaming services."
Well, if they learn to utilize what they already have and prepare for the future of the matter, like I would rather have the Google go retract back or shut down the original Stadia idea, or put it on hiatus. Tell people oh, you can still use the gaming services, but you're not going to be able to really do much with it after 2023. And then for the next 10 years or so, master it, master that craft, and then re-release it onto people on the newer devices of their own, like whether there's Google Chrome, the 5th generation, whatever, or whatever their product is of Google itself, of the Chromebooks, or have the Stadia again with this time with better internet by it's going to be 6G the next 10 years if we're careful, and that'll be great. That'll be maybe a way better time to utilize the cloud gaming, especially on Google's end. But now Xbox is dominating that matter. Like I can do cloud gaming from not random games, but certain games. Like I think it was Elysium or Chronicles or Elysium Chronicles. So that's one of those games you can do cloud gaming on. Last time I checked. So if they do something like that, Xbox, then they could be the dominant man or the dominant dog, in the gaming market of cloud gaming. So Google may have to bite their tongue, bite their hands a bit, just to be okay, we're gonna retract back or retreat, and then we'll just put on hiatus, whatever, and then re-release it to the public in 10 years or so. And I'm sure by then they'll have something great. By then, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, so they got plenty of revenue, if not profits or whatever they make up in their value to reinitiate that Google Stadia game or system, we want to call it. So yeah, it's it's just useless right now for Google to just latch onto other platforms or other companies that does their own little thing of cloud gaming. Other than that, it's just that you're just trying to hang on there, but you're not. You just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go,
Yeah.
Google. That's my opinion, of course. But in the end, it's logic and reason behind the matter. It's marketing 101. I have attended several marketing classes, whether it's online or in person, over the years. I'm now 35 years old, and I'm seeing that what they explain in class about consumerism, and even in high school they have consumer-related courses like home economics, what's that called, nutrition classes, things like that. Like everything involves with marketing involved. Like this whole world is involved with marketing, just to a great extent. So it's these companies at the top may falter down to the bottom if they're not careful, like Google, because these one slip-ups after another slip-ups ranging from God knows how many times with Google, can make them, eat their own words. So it's gonna be interesting for them to latch onto other cloud gaming. So
Yeah, and to be developing Chromebooks or be involved in Chromebooks. I just have to say, when I was getting a new laptop in 2020, or getting a laptop, a new one, because my old one's in there and doesn't work anymore, I actually did a lot of research on different computer companies. Acer, Lenovo, I have absolutely no faith in them, because when I was researching these laptops, I was reading customer reviews, and a lot of problems just came up for customers based on their reviews. When I got my laptop, I went to, I think it was Walmart. I think it was Walmart. And they had 3 laptops left. They said I could either have the one I have now, which is HP Hyper Pavilion. I've used their computers growing up. They're a good company. I could get an Acer laptop, which was $20 cheaper. Which, like I said, Acer, I really am skeptical about the quality of their products. Or I could get a Chromebook. Chromebook didn't have Windows. Acer had no faith in them, so I got an HP laptop. I don't know, so I'm kind of skeptical how these Chromebooks are going to be, because they're being made by Acer, Lenovo. Where's the computer companies that like HP or Dell, or the ones that we know make quality products? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I just want to say that Google themselves they're in a good position. They work with other major companies throughout not only the United States but also internationally. Not only through other companies and mega corporations and other conglomerates, but also with the other governments as well, from China to the United States, even intelligence enforcement agencies like that of the CIA, and as well as the Chinese intelligence. I forgot what's the exact name. These are the Chinese intelligence ministries. So these guys are like, hand in over fist, hand in hand, if ever, know how to handle their affairs with certain projects. So it's like, if they can do that with these governments and other conglomerates, surely they can master cloud gaming in a matter of years. So it's only a matter of time. If they retract what they're doing now, or at least retreat, like just do like a little hiatus or whatever. Like after 2023, shut down everything. All the companies they're associated with the cloud gaming, whatever. Like shut them down, whatever, and then just like focus on your project, focus on your little experiments, and that's it. Within 10 years, by 2030, 2032, it's gonna be like nothing happened. And it'll be a reinvigoration of cloud gaming based on Google's intuition, or at least Google's little, hand in the mix of things. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
I mean, but it's just, I also threw mismanagement in there, because look at YouTube. I mean, YouTube has declined in fun and quality since the 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. It's a whole lot more fun to use the website then than it is now.
More censorship,
and this was under the ownership of Google.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you can't run one thing right, why would I expect you to run something else correctly?
Well, somehow, some way, they still maintain YouTube to a certain kind of aspect and standard for other users. So even though they're losing revenue altogether with YouTube, they're still doing their best to maintain the services for people to use by any means necessary. I'm not saying that they're perfect, and I'm not saying that they're the master of everything, but they actually do their best to.
They're good.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, like I said. But it's just that overall, like the censorship. I mean, I understand they want to keep certain people like us, just as one of us people, you and I, Triple J, like to talk about games, things like that, because we talk about other things on the internet as well. So it's like, they want to clamp down on this censorship and stuff. Like they're trying to, make sure no one doesn't speak too much. But they're losing users, customers. Oh yes, they have their hands in other aspects of other aspects in the world economy. But in the end, people are just going to go to some other smaller company like that of Rumble, or go like that of what's it called, BitChute, and what's it called, Billy. That's the new one that I signed up for it. Those swells who found me on Billy. I've been on Billy for about a month now, and I just added my trailers to that account and went on Billy. So it's like they're rising up, these small platforms. If Google's not careful, So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, YouTube. My problem with it is when I had my channel like in 09 and 2010. For the next couple of years, it was a lot of fun. You could do your channel the way you wanted it. You could design it the way you wanted.
Yeah.
Then they decided, we're going to make everyone have a white background and look more professional, because that's what the executives want. And then YouTube started. Let's not forget that whole apocalypse. What was it? advertiser apocalypse when someone decided to show something in their videos they shouldn't, and Google got the great idea to punish every small creator that didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, ranging from like white supremacists to like terrorists, they all just take advantage of the YouTube ad revenue for what they. This is what the users say to public. So, but I know one thing certain: they don't like guys like us, you and I, trying to make it in this world. So they're like, hey, we're gonna clamp down on their little revenue, make sure to cut them out altogether, knowing that it's not our side jobs. I mean, it's not our main jobs, whatever. This is, I mean, this YouTube thing is like. In and of itself, like a unfathomable, but original type of lifestyle. Like, of course, yeah. I'm not on my part. Am I making money off of YouTube? Of course not. No ad revenue at all. I'm not getting none from this none whatsoever. But I'm having fun talking about games and politics and other topics and issues. Like, it's not some. Out of the nowhere that like I'm making money, guys. Like we're risking our time and effort trying to put you guys on a good show. We try to tell you what's going on, and this type of stuff. And YouTube's just, the Google of overseeing YouTube. The Google guys, they're just not. They don't see that bigger picture. They want to just care about like their own little image. And it's like once they're on the internet, there's all kinds of people, there's all kinds of cultures, values, like. Unless you can just say no to just be the next Blip TV, by all means, go ahead. Look what happened to Blip TV. They clamped down on that matter. They want all kinds of people talking about all kinds of content and issues and all this stuff. So it's kind of like, it's going to be another MySpace at this point with YouTube if they keep it, and they keep this up though. So not only that, Google Chrome will
be faltered. Google has stopped making their bad decisions. I mean.
Yeah, once the Google Stadia shuts down, what else got shut down? YouTube.
Yeah.
Then their projects with the CIA and stuff like that will falter. I bet. So it's it's like a whatever. So
it's like a domino effect. One domino falls, the rest are going to follow.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Good stuff.
Just let me check OBS. Okay.
So this will be a good one.
Next. Hold on. Is display capture? Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna be a good one, indeed.
Next one. Cowards. Lady Dimitrescu will be shorter in the Resident Evil Village DLC. Good news, Short Kings. Lady Dimitrescu is going to be a bit shorter in Resident Evil Village's DLC. Lady Dimitrescu, otherwise known as Tall Vampire Lady or simply Big Lady, if you're experiencing a loss for words, might have to get a more diminutive nickname that doesn't reference her towering height come the release of Resident Evil Village's first major DLC, because Capcom will be making her a little bit shorter. Resident Evil Village's big upcoming DLC collection, collectively dubbed Winter's Expansion, which was first announced back in June during Capcom's Not E3 broadcast. In it, players will play as protagonist Ethan Winters' now teenage daughter Rose to tie up loose ends from Village's story. It will let you play the game's score attack style, the Mercenaries mode, as Chris Redfield, Carl Heisenberg, and Lady Dimitrescu. However, players won't get to live vicariously as Lady D when it comes to her canonical height in Mercenaries mode. In an interview with Polygon, Kento Kinoshita, the director for the Winter's Expansion, revealed that Capcom had to nerf Lady D's height in order to give players a smoother gameplay experience. Ready for Lady Dummy Thick's new height reveal? Here we go. Instead of Lady D towering over you at a whopping 9'6", she'll be a bit shy of 9 feet tall. If you can't handle her at her shortest, you didn't deserve her at her tallest. During the development of Resident Evil Village's Mercenaries mode, Konishida told Polygon that Lady Dimitrescu's height presented a challenge for developers. Despite the difficulties in translating Lady D's height into Mercenaries, Konishida said the overwhelming fan response to that element of Lady Dimitrescu's tall stature was too important not to include in the game mode. For the Mercenaries, it's necessary that the player can control the character easily, and to make that possible, we did adjust her height to a little under 9 feet tall, Kinoshita told Polygon. At that height, the player just barely avoids bumping into the ceiling. Kinoshita also revealed that Capcom was also able to preserve Lady D's calm, dignified side, and excitable deranged side in the mercenaries, so do with that information what you will. All the Winter's expansion update will launch October 28th, that's in 6 days from now, and be available both separately and as a bundle with the original game known as Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. So what do you think about them having to shrink Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil Village Mercenaries mode?
It's only by 6 inches. She's still a tall mofo, so...
Yeah. It's weird though. I mean, it's just weird. That's the best I can say about it.
I mean, I'm not trying to be too realistic, but there are like tall women out there that as tall as like 7 feet tall. But on record in the world record, I'm like tallest person's like what 9'5", not even. So
I think 9 feet even.
Okay, but yeah, it's I don't see the difference. Is she's still a tall mother, you know what? So it's like, motherfucker. I'm sorry if I'm laughing too much, guys. It's just that these news I'm hearing for the last several days now. It's like, what are they trying to do here? They're trying to shock people or what? It's like they're saying that. They say they want to reduce the height, but we're expecting maybe 6'7", 6'10", but just 9 feet and that's it. And instead of 9'6", it's like, what's the point? What was the point of all of that? So I guess you could say is that it's no shocker. I mean, was it Mr. X? He was at least 7 feet tall.
At least maybe 8 feet.
8 feet actually. Okay. Yeah,
that's just a guess. I'm not knowledgeable about Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, of course. Now, I don't know Mr. X but so much, even though it's been 20 years. I have the game of Resident Evil 2, at least 25 years actually. So it's kind of weird. So
yeah. So I mean, I just don't understand how hard could it have been to make her controllable. If she was going to bump into ceilings, why not just raise the ceiling of the buildings that are going to be in mercenaries mode?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal, I guess. People are probably going to still enjoy mercenaries mode. But it sounds kind of weird. Like, since when did a character's height ever have dictate how that character was going to control?
Oh yeah.
I never played a game and said this character controlled awful because he was too tall. No. That never happened.
Yeah. I mean, if ever, we never really had like that many very extremely tall characters before. Since when just the Resident Evil 2 of Mr. X and all, but then also Nemesis not even 7 feet tall. So it's kind of like.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's over the years, no other video game character has all gotten taller and between 7 feet taller or taller. So I don't know what else to say about this matter. I just saying, because Lady Dimitrescu, if you want to pronounce her name that way, she's like one of those big shocking type of characters that we've seen in a while, from not only from height but also that. So.
Yeah, so
that's a whole lot of women right there. So
I mean, yeah, but she's also not something I'd want to come face to face to.
Hey, you got me one time, right? I was right in front of you. I'm that tall. So it's like, imagine the Lady Dimitrescu. It's she can be 9 feet tall. She's above the ceiling of my apartment. So it's like, damn.
Yeah, she makes you look like a normal height.
I know, right?
If she stood next to you. So I mean, again, it just sounds like such a weird reason why they had to shorten her. I mean, that's the only thing I think of. It's like, really? She was going to be too hard to control, and you just couldn't raise the ceiling of buildings. Ready to move on?
Oh yeah.
All right. Next. Pilot Wing 64, now out on Switch and still includes Twin Towers. Pilot Wing 64 has come to Nintendo Switch Online and includes the game's own rendition of the World Trade Center.
Wow.
Pilot Wing 64 is a Nintendo 64 launch game that's lived in Super Mario 64's shadow for more than 2 decades now, but it's a pretty fun time in its own right. Now the forgotten first-party N64 exclusive has come into Nintendo Switch Online and includes a small detail that might surprise you, an obvious tribute to the Twin Towers. Pilot Wing 64 came out in 1996, which obviously means that it predates the 9/11 terrorist attacks that defined a generation. As noted by Axios' Stephen Totilo, the game's Little States map includes several obvious references to Manhattan, including its own Empire State Building and World Trade Center. It also has a Mount Rushmore stand-in, only with Mario taking the place of George Washington. Okay. A previous post by Tolio speculated whether or not the Switch version of Pilot Wing 64 will include the Twin Towers facsimile. Well, we have our answer. Though it might seem strange to edit a 25-year-old game, sensitivity around 9/11 references continue to be a factor in our daily lives. For example, Wikipedia has a list of more than a dozen films that were edited to remove the Twin Towers in the years after the attacks. As for Pilot Wings itself, it's a collection of flying-themed minigames that serves as a showcase for the then-impressive N64 hardware. To play it, you must subscribe to both Nintendo Switch Online and its expansion pass, which features other N64 classics such as GoldenEye 007, Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Super Mario 64. Now, if only they would add Snowboard Kids too. So we'll be. That's not the only game that's being added to Nintendo Switch's Online Pass, expansion pass. But what do you think of them leaving the World Trade Center in Pilot Wings?
I'm very surprised. As it was been like about at least 21 years since 9/11 attacks happened. So you figure they're gonna censor it, but I guess not. And then, at the same time, who's gonna really like be offensive right now after 20 years? It's kind of like unless you refer to like Gen Z losing their parents from like 20 years ago when they were like babies or even kids. So it's kind of like that's a small like a very select few group of people that'll be offended by this matter. So
it's yes. I'm glad they're leaving it in. And to be fair, 9/11 did actually wreck what was going to be a video game release. What happened is they made a game for Dreamcast called Propeller Aviation. It was Propeller Arena Aviation, I think was the full title. It was basically you pick an airplane and you're shooting other airplanes out of the sky. Mm-hmm. The only problem, on September 18th, 2001, no one wanted to play a game like that because 9/11 was a week earlier.
Oh, okay.
And level 3 was called Tower City, with 2 glass towers right near each other. And I heard that was one of the reasons the game was canceled, even though it was finished.
Well, that sucks.
So with 9/11 having that kind of effect on video game releases, I am surprised Pilot Wing 64 is keeping it in. But I'm saying I think good for them,
Oh yeah, that's a good thing actually, because the less censorship, the better. Especially if you want to. What they should do from now on, if game companies can listen in on our conversation, whether it's publicly or not, or through the shares of these videos, these podcastings, what they should do is that they should have a censorship button or a censorship switch on and off. Whereas like you want to censor out the graphic content, you want to censor out the politics, or censor out the excessive amounts of dogma, if you want to call it, of an absolute like type of content of like politics or religion, whatever. Then by all means censor it on under the little option before the game. And then like you do with Call of Duty back in the day. I remember, I think you still do it to this day on Call of Duty games, like Modern Warfare 2019, where it says, oh, you want to turn graphic content on and off, or at least leave it on, you just leave it on by letting it be. But if you want to get rid of it, like the No Russian mission on Modern Warfare 2, of the original Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009, that one right there was one of the most sensitive, most egregious related matter of offense in game history, one of the most offenses. And this is not just because of my own experience, but also the fact that the larger populace dealt with with the September 11th attacks and the War on Terror. Everyone's scared of everything, everything. It's just.
Not to mention that No Russian mission in the original Modern Warfare 2, they actually gave you the option to skip that mission. You could play through the whole campaign and skip that mission without being penalized if it was.
Yep.
If it was too traumatic, or you were affected by something in real life that mission would brought back memories or something.
Oh yes, definitely. But unfortunately, if I can say this too. If I can say this though, Triple J, is that unfortunately you're not going to see nothing like that in Modern Warfare 2022 per se.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reboot, and they'll change it up a bit. So I understand the feeling, but there's going to be other offenses as well in that game most likely. So I can't wait to get my copy for the Xbox One next month. I can't get it this week or next week, whatever the release date is, but by next month hopefully I'll get a copy of it. So yeah.
So anyway, Pilot Wing 64, good job. I'm glad you decided to make it leave it in because, if you start censoring this stuff, how long before people forget?
It's like with the World War II theme type of game, video games. What's it called? What's not the Call of Duty Vanguard? Like originally they talk about in other previous Call of Duty games about the Nazis, World War II, the Allies versus the Axis of Powers. Now all of a sudden in Vanguard they'll say in every gameplay of like multiplayer gameplay, like especially Team Slayer, it will say my team versus the enemy team, and that's it. What happened to the Nazis versus the Axis powers? The CIA or the OSS versus the German SS or whatever their intelligence, German intelligence communities are, or whatever. So that type of stuff. So yeah.
It's just like imagine they were still making Army Men games today with the green and tan soldiers.
Oh yes.
I could just imagine how they'd be censoring that game too. But yeah, so I think Pilot Wing 64. I've never really cared about Pilot Wings either on Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64. I have to admit. But hey, if it's a good game, if people like it, maybe it'll be another reason to pay for Nintendo Switch's online expansion service. And like I said, we're going to talk about another 2 games that are being added to that service or have been added. You want to get into that right now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Next, just let me check OBS. Mario Party and Mario Party 2 are coming to Nintendo Switch Online and Expansion Pack November 2nd. Plus, GoldenEye 007 is promised to be coming soon. You'll soon be able to start the process of losing your friends as Mario Party and Mario Party 2 are coming to Nintendo Switch Online November 2nd. Nintendo has finally announced the date. Original Friendship Killers will be coming to the Switch Online and Expansion Pack service, bringing the 2 classic N64 titles to Nintendo's latest console for the first time. The first Mario Party launched in 1999, laying the foundations for many arguments to come, and lets 4 players face off against one another across 9 adventure boards and 56 minigames. Mario Party 2 picked up where the first one left off in 2000, this time allowing Mario and friends and enemies to don the occasional costume with new boards and minigames to play through. Nintendo also had some announcements for other treats expansion pack subscribers can expect, like how from November 1st, members can earn double My Nintendo Gold points through purchasing digital games or DLC in the eShop and My Nintendo Store. Some N64-themed icon elements will also be coming soon for expansion pack members, who can use Platinum points to buy these whenever they do launch. Nintendo also confirmed that GoldenEye 007 would be coming to the expansion pack soon, though in typical Nintendo fashion didn't specify how soon. Whenever it does launch, it should also do so on Xbox, but if you're looking to play the game with friends online, the Switch will be your best bet, as Microsoft has no plans to add online play. For games like Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, 1080 Snowboarding, and Excite Bike 64, things were slightly more specific as a release window of 2023 was provided, at least. However, they could release monthly, as most titles have since the expansion pack launched. So, what do you think of Mario Party 1 and 2 coming to the service?
That's interesting. So, basically, can you do an online gameplay with it, or just a regular version of the Mario Party 1 and 2?
I don't remember saying it would be online, so I think it would.
That would
no, they just talked about they just talked about like other perks besides Mario Party 1 and 2. So to play the games, I think you would have to. They didn't say anything about online play in these games.
That would be nice to have online gameplay because if you can't have all your 3 other friends in the same room, at least let's say one other friend is staying not too far from wherever you are, and then my friend can from downstairs, whatever, you can team up and things that matter. That'd be great. That'd be like an awesome dynamic right there. Because it's not like the old days where it's like you go to parties and get together by these other kids while the adults are mingling up above in the barbecue area, outside, having a good time. Whatever. It was pretty good. Memories that I had with other people that are in similarity with my interests. Because I remember at least a few times I'll go over to my mom's friend's house somewhere in let's just say in Long Island somewhere, and every few months or every year almost for a couple of years or so, we'll go over to have barbecuing with some sort of birthday party of like my mom's daughters, my mom's friend's daughters, parties or whatever. She's considered disabled, so they probably know what I'm talking about. And we have a good time in the basement. We're playing with it with my mom's friend's daughter's brother, who he's like around my age at the time, while the daughter, she's like around maybe 16, 17 years old, having a sweet 16 or whatever, or just basic teenage hood stuff. Every year she has to get something better and better every time so often. And we will just play Sonic. We'll play like with Virtual Cop, some Sega Saturn games like Knights and stuff like that. If I recall correctly, so it was like at least 20 years ago to happen, though, man. Time flies, and we lost contact after when my mom and I moved out of the Valley Stream back in 2003. So since then, we lost contact. To my awareness, that is, to my personal situation, my own little perspective. So, and it was good. Mario Party. I think we never really played. I will admit that, but those were good moments to have to play Mario Party 1 and 2. But by Mario Party 9, where when Mario Party had that,
I think Mario Party 10 actually.
Okay, because I'm thinking of.
I think they stopped after 10 on the Wii U.
Okay, because I remember back in the Wii U years, they actually had a Mario Party where you get to try to go after Bowser and his son Bowser Jr. So that was something interesting to looking forward to. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford it back then. I was busy with my own little Halo 3 gaming. So, but yeah, it's good times, and I hope that.
I have no idea what Halo 3 has to do with Mario Party because Halo 3 came out like in the mid-2000s.
Yeah,
and Mario Party came out in 1999.
If you let me finish, I'm referring to when Mario Party 9 to 10 came out, the
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were saying that's the reason you couldn't get the original Mario Party.
I was busy.
Wait a minute.
Well, I was busy playing Halo
years afterwards.
I was busy playing Halo 3 because I also couldn't afford it, the Mario Party games or the system at the time. So I could only afford the Halos, the Call of Duties maybe once in a while. That's about it. Other than that, I was just trying to spruce up the conversation. So yeah, that's my situation.
Well, I do think these games might have online play because, like they said, GoldenEye 007 will have online play on the Switch.
Okay.
So I don't know why these other games would not, because that's also supposed to be another perk about the Switch Online Game Pass or expansion, whatever the actual title is. So if GoldenEye is going to have it, I expect Mario Party to have it. Just like other games. I think even Mario Kart has it.
Mm-hmm.
But Mario Party 1 and 2 and 3 coming in the future, that's good because these games are still expensive. Like last I checked, and I haven't checked recently, Mario Party 3 can go for like $50, just the cartridge.
Oh wow, that's
Mario Party, the first Mario Party could go for like anywhere between $35 to $40.
that's actually not bad if you think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, Mario Party 3, I'm going to check right now just to see if I can. But I mean, these games the Mario Party trilogy, they're not really cheap games, so they're actually worth getting the online expansion pass if you have a Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
I just want to see how much these games cost now if, with inflation and everything. Okay, these are all for the loose cartridge. Mario Party, the first one, is $37. Mario Party 2 is $50. Mario Party 3 is $57. So, paying what, $20 for the online Switch Pass, or even $50, you're getting a deal because you'll be able to play these games online.
That's good.
Mario Party on the first one, I got 100 stars in the party mode, which took a long time, even with cheating. No, because when you played the Mario Party mode, any stars you got during the game, you got to keep. When you got 100 stars, you unlock Bowser's map.
Okay. But
what happened is you would only keep the stars if that a player got if a human was controlling that player. If a computer player got a star, you didn't keep it at the end of the game.
Okay.
So, at the end of, on the last turn, I had to make everyone a human player, and then I got all the stars, everyone, and even doing that, it took a long time to reach 100 stars. Also, Mario Party 1, I do have to also mention, it did give players blisters, because a lot of many games, you had to rotate the analog stick, and people were complaining about getting blisters on their palm. Apparently, they fixed that with Mario Party 2, and I haven't heard anything bad about Mario Party 3.
Regardless of if it's Mario Party or not, over the years and into decades of gaming altogether, your thumbs, or at least the two thumbs of my two thumbs, it started to catch up to me. So it's like, it doesn't matter if it's Mario Party or some game like The Simpsons or any arcade game like the 90s and 2000s. Everything catches up. So I can't imagine what we're going to be like for the next 20 years. Where he's hearing medical cases of thumb strains or even thumb surgeries to fix these strains on the thumbs. Perhaps carpal tunnel will be a bigger problem too in the next couple of decades as well. So, yeah. Of course, I'm partially veering off topic, but it's something to imagine within the next few years. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, we weren't having these problems when we were teenagers or just about to become teenagers. Kids our age were getting blisters on their hand because, a lot of the mini games in Mario Party, you had to you had to pedal a bike to get a light bulb to turn on before Boo got you, or just something you had to rotate the analog stick as fast as you could. So you'd have the controller like this, and you got your hand on the analog stick, and you're rotating it as fast as you can. And apparently, a lot of people got blisters. Me, I just gave up before I got to that point.
Or you just use your palm of your hand and be like this,
That's what people were doing. So I know it's hard. I know it's hard to demonstrate since I don't have an N64 controller right here with me, but
yeah, I have an N64 controller right here somewhere too myself, somewhere over there. Again.
Yeah,
that's how much stuff I got, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a lot it's Mario Party 1 and 2 is coming in the beginning of November, and like they said, Excite Bike's coming, GoldenEye's coming, Pokemon Stadium is coming, so Mario Party 3 is coming, so there's a lot more to look forward to in the upcoming months.
Oh yeah.
And that's a good thing, because it did look like from a while, I think it was the end of 2021, that they were being stingy when adding games to the service.
Yeah,
Remember that? They added like one game in 2 months.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So good on Nintendo.
And these are all their own games, to be honest with you. Like, these are like their own Nintendo approved games back in the 90s and 2000s. Like, what the hell, right? So.
And it's first party, so it's it's not like they don't have a licensing issue. They they own the license for Mario. They own the license for Pokemon. They own
Unless I know it sounds weird at first when I'm saying this though. Unless when they had divisions of Nintendo, because they had Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Japan, Nintendo of Europe, so kind of like, copyright issues between the three entities over the last 25, 30 years.
That could be, but I highly doubt it, because when the Nintendo came out, the NES, the gray box that we grew up with, it first came out in Japan, and then Japan told U.S., the United Nintendo of America, we want to release this in America.
Okay.
So I think like Japan calls the shots, and their headquarters in Japan call the shots, and then their different regional headquarters have to do, So I don't think Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Japan are like pulling Mario apart at he's mine. No, he's mine. No, I don't think that's happening.
It would be nice though. It'd be nice to break if Itawa is still alive. It would be nice to break him on our podcast, or better yet, was another add-on too. Have Reggie from the Nintendo of America, or better yet, have Minoru Arakawa, the original president, the first president of Nintendo of America, because he was the one who founded Nintendo of America back God knows how many decades ago. He sacrificed a lot to make that company to become what it is today. And without him, God knows what will Nintendo be like right now. So that'd be nice to have these guys. Because Arakawa, if I pronounce his name correctly, he actually he's still around to this day. He's only in his late 60s, early 70s, last time I checked. So he's still alive, doing a little side interest with Nintendo of America still, even though he's not the president anymore. So.
All right. Well, yeah, it was Nintendo of Japan that the reason America has the Nintendo Entertainment System when United States of America had the video game crash in 1983. It was Japan who said, no, we want to release the Nintendo Entertainment System in America because it's such a big hit here in Japan. So, if it wasn't for the Nintendo headquarters in Japan, maybe we wouldn't have the Nintendo Entertainment System or any of the Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, Arakawa took part in Nintendo in Japan as well, too. It's just that he was one of the movers and shakers at the time, so he sacrificed to a point, and this is in the book mentioned in the book called Game Over by David Sheaf as the author. And in that book, I think I mentioned this many months ago on this podcast, but now it's more detail, where Arakawa sacrificed so much for the company of Nintendo that he will spend at least multiple hours every day just doing what he had to do to make the company happen of Nintendo of America, of the United States. And it's to the point where he couldn't recognize his family, he couldn't recognize his wife, his children at the airport they're supposed to meet each other at. It was ridiculous on Arakawa's part, but he sacrificed enough to get that happen with Nintendo. So I congratulate him on sacrificing for that matter. So
yeah, and Nintendo's games we grew up with, even if Nintendo isn't our preferred system now, Nintendo played a big part in our childhood.
Yes. Even though mine was towards Mortal Kombat and Mario, but that was back then, of course, where they cut the limitations of our choices were limited. Like it was that limited to us. If you were to call us a working class family, so, well, I'm not sure about your family specifically, Triple J, but with my family, we're from like a working class standpoint. And my mother, she was a single mom. Obviously, she's only one taking care of me at the time. After we moved to Long Island. And during those years, she would sacrifice herself to work and give me all these consoles, like from Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1. My uncle gave me my first ever PlayStation 2 system. And then from there on, it's history since. I'm glad that my family showed me these games. And then 20 years later, as of this moment, now it's like I reflect in some history. It's like, wow, it's like amazing. And it relives what's going on in today's world with our politics, with our government, with our entertainment systems, entertainment altogether, industries. It's a blessing. So yeah, it's you know, they more blessings to anyone, everyone out there, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm just happy to hear that. So anyway, Mario Party 1 and 2, great that's being added to the service in the beginning of November, so that's going to be like a couple of weeks away. And like they said, in 2023, you can expect more games that people will fondly remember, like Mario Party 3, like Excite Bike, like Pokemon Stadium. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's a great time to be a Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass subscriber.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right. Next. Okay. Next, Star Trek Resurgence pushed to April 2023. Star Trek Resurgence is the latest title to get pushed into 2023. The narrative-driven sci-fi adventure will now launch in April to ensure it receives a final coat of polish. Developer Dramatic Labs announced the news on Twitter, stating it's taking the extra time to ensure a truly immersive Star Trek experience. Resurgence was first announced during the Game Awards 2021 and is a choice-driven adventure game that follows a similar design template to Telltale Games titles. Dramatic Labs consist of ex-Telltale employees. The story unfolds shortly after the events of Star Trek The Next Generation, as players control two original characters, an officer and a commander, to solve a mystery aboard the USS Resolute. The narrative and your relationships change depending on your choices, and gameplay features light combat and puzzle solving. Resurgence is currently slated to launch on PlayStation and Xbox consoles and PC. We played a demo of Star Trek Resurgence during Summer Game Fest in June. You can also keep up with the plethora of big titles that have been delayed to 2023. So what do you think of the Star Trek game being pushed back? Have you ever been a big fan of Star Trek?
Unfortunately, it's like a partial unfortunately. I saw only a few episodes of Star Trek, and at times when I see the episodes, it probably like a few minutes. It wasn't geared towards me directly, but I do have interest and want to watch more of it. Star Trek as of late. It's on Netflix now, if I recall correctly, especially on Amazon Prime last time I checked. But the original Star Trek with Picard, Captain Picard as a character, and Mr. Patrick Stewart as an actor of Picard, that was an interesting performance he did with that series. Unlike what's going on in today's Star Trek series, whatever that's called now, I heard it's a horrible mess.
I think it's Star Trek Picard still, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked that out yet too much.
Okay, so were you a fan of Deep Space Nine, The Next Generation?
Not necessarily. I see episodes here and there when I was younger. But I'll have to say this though, that I like Star Wars more than Star Trek, and it's all right, Star Trek, but it didn't catch my eye until as of recent. I still try to watch whenever I can for the last several months, but it's hard to keep track after 15, 20 years of Star Treks.
Yeah.
and let alone actually watch at least I can say at least watch the original Star Trek from the 1960s with William Shatner as the actor of the main character. What's his name? What's the name of the main character in 1960s? Star Trek. Oh wow!
I'm not sure.
It's been such a long time. See, it's hard to keep track of this stuff after so many decades have been progressing. Because I was busy into SpongeBob and C-SPAN and all. Yes, C-SPAN people. I will admit that I watched C-SPAN when I was younger. That's why you see me as very informative about my politics, whatever. But other than that, it's the resurgence of the coming up next year. I saw the 2021 4 minutes of gameplay trailer of sorts back when it was being promoted at the Game Awards last year or two, and it looked good. The gameplay it's pretty alpha footage, but it's still good to play because it's like kind of like a Telltale Games kind of. So I'll definitely will look into that matter when it comes out next year. Unfortunately, when it comes to Star Trek games altogether in recent time, I did not play the Star Trek Online game that came out for the 360 and PS3. I do have a copy of it, or at least it was on the game. If I recall correctly, it was on Game Pass, or it was Games with Gold, or it was free to play. And I downloaded it so many times, never got a chance to play it. It just crossed my mind so many times, but I didn't just to play it. Still, it's just so much to keep up, guys. I'm sorry that I'm not prepared for this specific event in our historical gaming aspect. It's been a while, at least since the 1960s, 1960, what, 1, 2, or 3. So it's been about over 55 years now since the original Star Trek.
And don't forget the Star Trek movies.
Oh yes, that too. Yes, my aunt is also a big fan of Star Trek as well. Yes, because she actually has movies from the 1980s: Star Trek 1, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, Going to Earth and shit like that.
Voyage Home or something like that.
Yeah, the VHS. She has all VHS, the first 5 that is, of the VHS movies. I saw them when I was younger, so. See, this is like, it's a back and forth. Like, I remember this and that about Star Trek, but I still focus on Star Wars to the best of my ability as well. Then also focus on other science fiction novels, science fiction movies I want to look at. There's this one specific science fiction video. It's like a little short film of where you are these humans in outer space somewhere on a planet where it's always raining. Like, it's always raining 24/7, 365, forever and ever. And when you're at class, you have to go through these minor, recurrent testing and also remediation of vitamin D into your system. So you have to use sunlight from these heat-seeking machines, whatever. And they do this every time when you're in class. So it's like a little noir science fiction, little bit of type of matters. It's kind of interesting. So it's like that too. I want to find out if I can find that video. So I'm busy looking for that as well. So, and also Species and Alien and Predator. It's just over the decades, man. It's such an honor to be a part of all this 40, 50 year of content putting out there, seeing this stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely will look into see how good his Resurgent is, that game itself. So
yeah, I'm just interested because of the gameplay. Like they said, it's going to be similar to Telltale. Anything like that, I'm definitely interested in. Because keep in mind, I wasn't a fan of the Walking Dead TV show. It was too boring, too much talking, not enough shooting. But I gave the game a chance because I liked what they did with The Wolf Among Us. And I'm like, The Wolf Among Us had great gameplay. If the same gameplay is same in The Walking Dead, I liked it there. I'll like it here. So, and like they said, former Telltale employees are now working on the Star Trek game, so it's going to be similar. And you get to decide how relationships will play out. So, it's a game that, even though I never really cared about Star Trek, the gameplay is right up my alley.
Oh yeah,
it's a game I'll play regardless. With the gameplay they have, the license really doesn't matter to me. I'll get to know the characters through the game if I don't know these characters, through TV. Batman was that way. If you remember the Batman Telltale games.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning of the first game, it said, forget everything you know about Batman. It was like, forget about the relationships. This game has nothing to do with other Batman media. So, ready to move on, or?
Yeah, I just want to say now, though, that before we continue on, it's great that Star Trek's still flowing through. It may not be the best for the last 5 or 7 years because of the newer movies that starred new characters and everything else, because it's based on rad and the cool and the sticky type of crowd, where the younger kids pretty much are not into all that, learn about biology or science and chemistry and things like that, because that's what they did with the original Star Trek episodes back in the 1960s, where if you were on this episode, I think it was where you go on this planet, they send you to, or the captain of the crew sent the captain to another planet, and you have to learn how to do all these chemistry things on the Earth and stuff, like seeing the ground of TNT and all this other chemicals. They have to learn in his head and see what it looks like on the ground from these elements, and he uses it to his ability to make an explosive to kill some sort of monster, and in order to kill the monster, in order to get out of that planet, you have to kill that monster in order to move on. So it was pretty interesting that you had to think on his feet, you had to think on your, think, it's not, that's a matter. So it was good that back then. But yeah, that's all I got to say. So.
Okay. Yeah, so Star Trek Resurgence, unfortunately it's been delayed, but we'll keep you posted as more news comes out about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on. Next, this is kind of a controversial story. Helena Taylor says Bayonetta 3 absence due to immoral compensation calls for fans to boycott the game. First, I'm going to read the actual article, and then I'll read the update. Original story. One of Bayonetta's 3's most head-scratching elements is Platinum's decision to switch Bayonetta's voice actor from Helena Taylor to Jennifer Hale. Taylor played the Umbra Witch in the first 2 games, but Platinum explained in our cover story that she wouldn't reprise the role due to various overlapping circumstances. Just let me check OBS. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Taylor had been largely quiet on the issue, presumably due to a non-disclosure agreement, but has broken her silence with a fiery message claiming immoral compensation from Platinum as the reason her role was recast. In a Twitter thread, Taylor shared a 3-part video message where she explains how things fell apart between herself and Platinum. She says that when Bayonetta 3 was in development, she was required to re-audition for the role, which is standard practice since a performer's voice can change as they age. Taylor states she passed with flying colors, to which Platinum presented her with what she described as an insulting offer. Taylor says she then wrote Platinum co-founder and Bayonetta 3 supervising director Hideki Kamiya directly to demand what I'm worth. She claims Kamiya replied by expressing his value for her talent and her popularity with the fan base. Platinum then offered her a $4,000 flat rate for her the entire voiceover job. The Bayonetta franchise has made an approximated $450 million. That's not including merchandise, says Taylor. This is an insult to me. The amount of time that I took to work on my talent and everything that I've given to this game and to the fans. I am asking the fans to boycott this game and instead spend the money that you have spent on this game donating it to charity. I didn't want the world. I didn't ask for too much. I was just asking for a decent, dignified living wage. What they did was legal, but it was immoral. Taylor, a classically trained actor, writer, and director, says she's calling for the boycott as a show of solidarity for underpaid workers. She comments on England's cost of living and wage issues, saying there are nurses going to food banks to feed their children. This is not right. This is not acceptable. It impacts mental health. Taylor says the financial strife caused her to suffer bouts of depression and anxiety to the extent that she was at one point suicidal. I'm not afraid of the non-disclosure agreement, says Taylor. I can't even afford to run a car. What are they going to do? Take my clothes? Good luck on that. As for Platinum's statement implying that a scheduling conflict was the reason Taylor was recast, she responds by saying, Platinum had the cheek to say that I was busy, that they couldn't make it work with Mrs. Taylor's schedule, while I had nothing but time. Taylor then comments on Jennifer Hale replacing her, saying, they now have a new girl voicing her over, and I love actors. I wish her all the joy in the world. I wish her all the jobs, but she has no right to say she is the voice of Bayonetta. I created that voice. She has no right to sign merchandise as Bayonetta any more than I have the right to sign as Eva Green, even though I was her pirate on the video game, The Golden Compass. That portrayal is hers and hers alone. Taylor concludes by saying, they'll probably try to do a spin-off with Gian. Don't buy that one either. Hideki Kamiya has seemingly tweeted a response writing, sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruth. That's what all I can tell now. So there it is. We'll see how or if Platinum as a whole responds, especially legally since Taylor is evidently breaking an NDA, but this is a bad PR blow for the studio to get slammed with so close to Bayonetta 3's release. A vocal sect of the hardcore Bayonetta fanbase had always suspected there was much more to the voiceover change than what Platinum stated. Some hope the multiversal storyline presented the possibility that Helena still appeared as a Bayonetta variant. That's apparently not the case, and it'll be interesting to see if a boycott gains any traction. Bayonetta is slated to launch on October 28th for Switch. Now, that was the original story. There was an update. So the update. Jennifer has responded to Helena Taylor's scathing claims against Platinum Games that Taylor declined to perform in Bayonetta 3 due to unfair compensation from the studio and her subsequent call for a boycott of the game. Hale, who is the new voice of Bayonetta in the game, posted the following statement on Twitter. About Bayonetta 3. With regard to Bayonetta 3, as a longtime member of the voice acting community, this is from Jennifer Hale, the new voice of Bayonetta. As a longtime member of the voice acting community, I support every actor's right to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have great respect for my peers and I am an advocate for all members of the community. I am under an NDA and I'm not at liberty to speak regarding the situation. My reputation speaks for itself. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people, and hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. Finally, I hope that everyone involved may resolve their differences in an amicable and respectful way. With love and respect to you all, Jennifer Hale. So, so what do you think of this story?
It's suspicious at first. At first it was suspicious because how is it that the original voice actress of Bayonetta, Helena, that's her name is, not compensated well over the last 9, 10, maybe 15 years so far since the first Bayonetta. So I figure as much. The first Bayonetta, of course, is a small gig. Let's try it out, see how good this will come to be. Then by Bayonetta 2, it's one of the most exciting to see of any female character in gaming history. So I figure as much. Helena was supposed to get a nice big juicy pay for her voice as the original Bayonetta. Unfortunately, she turned it down because she only makes like what? What's it about? What's in the last video on my channel? I said about it's like $15,000 she was asking for, or she was compensated for $15,000 altogether.
They said they were going to give her $4,000, which is not that much, especially depending how much. Which is not that much. For a project like this. However, though, the Bayonetta character of all of its games, its overall performance and like selling to the public, the total revenue was about, or total amount of profits was about $450 million. Yeah, $450 million. I mentioned in one of my videos, and I'm like, wait a second, that's so much money just for that one video game alone. So you're telling me that you can't compensate the voice actress how much more money for the third Bayonetta? So either Helena got too greedy, and or the company got too greedy, and or there's something not right with this matter altogether. So I guess Helena kind of sacrificed her reputation to expose the matter, to show her that like she makes only so much money in like 4-hour sessions she mentioned. So I figure, okay, all right, it's compensated for the first two Bayonetta, especially if you want to put it like that in the past. But now, of the third Bayonetta, that's like another big title for 2022 this year. So it's kind of like, why not just give her, I don't know, instead of $15,000, maybe like $20,000, or better yet, give her the $15,000 she originally asked for, and then like maybe like 5% of the proceeds for the next 3 years of Bayonetta after it's released or whatever, that type of matter. Because if I was the voice character in one of those, a voice actor in one of those Bayonetta characters, like Enzo and the black guy from Hell, whatever his name is, I would kill just to be a part of that cast. That's how much Bayonetta impacted a lot of players. Like, she's not some ordinary character that you get from from Xbox or whatever. This is from 2009, where totally different timing. Sex, violence, sex and sexual innuendos galore in gaming, from Tomb Raider's Lara Croft
to Fear Effects Hannah to God knows what is it, even Chun-Li in Street Fighter. You gotta be kidding me. That's like, give the lady Helena some money. Like, just let her shut up for a second, that's it. But if she's getting too greedy, I can understand. Like, okay, she's pushing it. So there's more to it than meets the eye. And but at the same time, Helena sacrificed herself. She just messed up her reputation for her to be in any Bayonetta, future Bayonetta title. Or any game. So now she's like out of the job in voice acting of gaming companies, let alone acting altogether. So, best of luck to her. She may have to work in Walmart for the rest of her life and be a greeter there. And people be like, gamers like me be like, oh, wait, Helena, is that you from Bayonetta? Wow, hey, we get a selfie. Show a Bayonetta figurine in front of her and then put a little selfie and, something like that. But obviously, that's hardcore Bayonetta fans. I'm just like the casual Bayonetta gamer. So yeah.
All right, well, I heard a lot about the story. The studios also claim there was also a claim that maybe she was going to be paid $4,000 for every session, but I can only go on based on the article I read,
right,
which said it was going to be a flat rate of $4,000.
Oh yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I understand. With the game, I don't know how long Bayonetta would have taken to record the voiceover, but yeah, maybe they should have offered more, especially with the cost. Not every job is supposed to be a living wage. We're not talking about flipping fries at McDonald's or anything. We're talking about voice acting for an AAA video game. So, $4,000, if that's all she was offered, does seem really low.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long she would have had to work. I don't know how long she would have had to record. But you know what? If you think you're not getting paid what you're worth, then take the chance on betting on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It might work out. It might not. But I'm just saying, this story does sound a little weird just because the amount sounds so low. It's like, wait a minute, if you're living at home, maybe that's not such a bad number, but $4,000, how long was she going to have to be, in the recording studio?
And we found out, if I may add to
how many sessions?
Yeah. If I can say this though, Triple J, is that what I found out through other networks on my Xbox gamers, he explained to me that she bragged too much about what she was making earlier before the recordings. So it's like whatever she said during those recordings earlier this week, she was just bragging. She was saying that out of exaggeration that she wasn't paid enough. So she did something where she bragged about it at the same time. It sounds so little. So she mentioned it in other other recordings or other videos. Like she bragged about it, like, "Oh, I only have to finish it within 4 hours or 12 hours or whatever the number was." So it's kind of like I can understand that, but it's easy money to her. She said basically she says easy money, and that's how much she bragged about it. But she's the voice of Bayonetta. Like, that's the original Bayonetta right there. We always remember her. Well, I'm not sure about you, Triple D, but I always remember Bayonetta as the original first Bayonetta, first game, pretty much. Like Dante from Devil May Cry.
I think she was Bayonetta in Bayonetta 2, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
So, she was in 2 games. So...
It's like Dante's voice actor, whoever he is. That I don't know who exactly, but he's been around for how many years for Devil May Cry 1, 2, and I think maybe 4 and 5. Not sure about 3, but definitely 4 and 5. I heard he could have took part in that matter. So because he sounds similar from the first Devil May Cry, whoever the voice actor was in Devil May Cry 5. So
yeah. So anyway, it sounds weird. She was bragging about it one hand, on the other hand, it's not enough. So Yeah, so if I don't think people are going to be boycotting Bayonetta 3 though.
Right.
I think this is one game fans have been waiting way too long for.
Yeah, because in the age of SJW / anti-sex, whatever you want to call it, matter. It's anti-culture. Actually, it's like fuck, man. Like this, I'm good that this Bayonetta. But here's the thing, though, with Bayonetta 3, though, I heard that there's a character that looks like something from the feminist standpoint, like Anita Sarkeesian, and she has her hand in it somehow, some way, or some of those censorship like SJW nonsense, because they actually added a third female character into that game, other than Trisha, whatever her name was. Trisha is the secondary character of Bayonetta, so Trisha's been up for every day Bayonetta pretty much. But
we know anything gaming wise Anita Sarkeesian is involved in helping develop turns to shit, so
let's hope not. Let's hope that's just a rumor, whatever, with how the Terminator Dark Fate movie was, where they included the tomboyish things with the characters and all. That's influence somehow of today's world, with all the cancel culture and the Me Too movement, you name it. So, it's stuff like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, anyway, so Bayonetta 3 is coming out in less than a week. And I think people who have been looking forward to this game, this isn't going to deter them from buying it.
It's just going to make things better. Like, people will buy more of the product because now they see that, the original Helena voice actor, I think she was compromised or something. Someone must have made her feel uncomfortable to talk about this and sacrifice her reputation for the matter too.
They are under an NDA. That's
okay. So that's the thing too. Once you broke the NDA, now it's like, good luck trying to find work in the future of any related work.
Yeah. Not to mention, you can have a hefty payday where you have to pay a lot of money if you broke an NDA. So
yeah, and Helena got working at Walmart or fucking McDonald's for the rest of her life,
All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Next. Hey, Sky Captain Charisma. Thanks for joining the stream. Next, Gotham Knights will not offer performance mode on console. One's only at 30 frames per second. The game will run at 30 frames per second on PS5 and Xbox Series with no other options. After announcing a 4-player co-op mode will be coming to Gotham Knights next month, Warner Bros. Montreal has shared another piece of less exciting news. The game will run at 30 frames per second on console with no performance mode option. The announcement was made via the official Gotham Knights Discord server by the game's executive producer, Fleur Marty. She confirmed that the game will not provide an option to switch between a high-quality graphics mode and a performance mode, which will raise the frame rate. Due to the type of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in a highly detailed open world, Marty writes, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher frame rate. Marty continues by confirming that Gotham Knights does not have a performance quality toggle option and will run at 30 frames per second on consoles. The news follows the confirmation of a 4-player co-op mode called Heroic Assault, which we'll talk about next, which will be added to the game for free on November 29th. Heroic Assault will feature 30 levels of enemies and objectives for up to 4 players to challenge, joining the game's 2-player co-op story mode. Gotham Knights launched yesterday for Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. So, Dr. Games 101, what do you think of a game like Gotham Knights that was not would have been too scaled back on PS4 and Xbox One, only running at 30 frames per second?
That's so like 2015 right there. So
yeah, it's yeah. So it's just 30 frames per second. I mean, come on, we could do 60 frames per second, but they're saying no. It's just they're keeping it at 30 frames. It's like, I mean, come on, you saying PS5 and Xbox Series can't do better?
Yeah, that is weird. All right, very weird.
Yeah.
I also heard too. Gotham Knights wasn't as great. Did it come out yet, by the way, or is still being promoted? Last time I checked.
It came out yesterday.
Okay, because I heard there was news about as of earlier this week that from critics, the ones who got their hands on before the official release, saying that it was not that great of a game, Gotham Knights. So
Yeah, so that's weird. Gotham Knights, they had to cancel the PS4 and Xbox One version. They had to scrap them, get rid of them, because the game would have been too scaled back. And now they're saying on consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series, it's going to be at 30 frames per second. Like 25 frames per second is like webcam speed
yeah,
for a normal webcam. So, and 30 frames per second has been fine, but we've
like
kind
TV.
of grown accustomed to 60 being the norm. Have we not?
Yeah, that's like the old school TV format of 30 frames per second during the 1990s. That's like watching Family Matters or what's it called, Boy Meets World. Those type of shows from back then.
Like a CRT TV.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm surprised. It's almost like they said we're scrapping the PS4 and Xbox One version. So the game doesn't have to be scaled back, but the game is still being scaled back.
Oh yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, it seems like Gotham Knights was doing something great, and now, I don't know how the reviews are. I haven't seen any reviews. Maybe I'll check some out later tonight. But this is just weird.
Yeah. Well, we thought that they're gonna improve the matter. What happened after the Arkham series with the Arkham Knight specifically, because I heard Arkham Knight had problems on PC back in 2015 when it came out. So you figure by Gotham Knights they'll fix the problem, but I guess not. So
yeah. But let's read more about the 4-player co-op mode
Sure.
that they added. Also, Liam, hold on, just reading comments. You heard Gotham Knights was fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 tonight. Every 2 weeks, myself and Dr. Games 101 go over gaming news. But yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about Gotham Knights until this setback. That it's going to be, did Sky Captain Quizma, did that person play it on PC or consoles? If you know that, that's what I'm wondering, because it's probably not scaled back on PCs at all.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, more information. Gotham Knights to get Heroic Assault, a free 4-player co-op mode in November, because the campaign's 2 players, only up to 2 players. While Gotham Knights campaign will only support single-player or 2-player co-op, a new mode called Heroic Assault will launch for free on November 29th, 2022. That will let up to 4 players team up in arena-based challenges. WB Games Montreal announced the news on Twitter and on Gotham Knights' fact page, saying Gotham has thrown down a new gauntlet. Heroic Assault, the free 4-player co-op experience, is coming to Gotham Knights November 29, 2022. Heroic Assault is an upcoming gameplay mode that is separate from the main story campaign. Gotham Knights FAQ reads, the standalone mode supports up to 4 players in online co-op and provides a dedicated arena-like environment with specific objectives to complete and enemies to defeat on each floor, 30 floors total. For those hoping this would also bring 4-player co-op to the main story campaign, WB Games Montreal has not said it is planning to bring 4-player co-op to anything beyond Heroic Assault. Things can always change, but it doesn't look to be in the cards at the moment. Gotham Knights came out yesterday, and lets players experience a story in single or 2-player co-op featuring Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood. WB Games Montreal previously shared with the IGN why it chose to limit co-op to 2 players despite there being 4 heroes, saying, focusing more on the idea of the immediate team-up of 2 allowed us to say, okay, we can build a world that works perfectly well for either solo play or pairing off. In our Gotham Knights final preview, we said that it is not an easy game to demo, and while I walked away from my hands-on time less than impressed with many aspects of combat, I still found myself interested in playing more. So, what do you think, Heroic Assault?
Well, if it's related to the original Gotham Knights, obviously, right?
This is going to be a mode in Gotham Knights.
I see. Huh. Well, is it couch co-op or is this only online co-op?
I think it's online.
I see. All right. It doesn't appear at first. Gotham Knights appeals to me overall.
Online, it supports online co-op in this mode.
All right. At first, it appeals overall. It does appeal. It looks very appealing to play Gotham Knights. But after what I heard for the last couple of days with Gotham Knights, it's kind of like, it's iffy if I should look into playing the game or get a copy of the game. Even if it is part of my Games with Gold or Game Pass, but if they ever put it on Game Pass, that is. But yeah, it is. I'm sorry if I sound very disinterested or lack interest. It's just that I'm still thinking about like how bad this game is going to be on overall sales. So give it another few days, see what happens, and I have a good answer by the next podcast. So
yeah, it's just weird. Maybe we were expecting too much, but let me go back to OBS because Sky Captain Charisma said 30 frames per second is just sad in 2023, no less. Yeah, we're 2 months away from 2023, and they said the best they can do is 30 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to expect 1440p or 4K in games. Well, I know that's resolution and frame per second is different, but some people are talking about 120 frames per second in games. That's still impressive, but yeah, I mean, keep in mind this is a game that was had to be on new consoles, the new current console generation only.
Excuse me.
Ready to move on?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Next, burn too many times on video games. Wish to play it the way Doc is by waiting. That's what Sky Captain Charisma said.
Yeah.
G4 shuts down less than a year after relaunching. Comcast is shutting down G4 about 11 months after it launched. G4, the gaming-focused TV network that relaunched in November 2021, is shutting down. A memo sent from Dave Scott, the CEO of Comcast's Spectre Core division, said the new G4 didn't attract enough viewers and the network didn't make enough money. According to Deadline, a few dozen full-time and contract workers are affected by the closure of G4, and some are being considered for other roles within the company. Comcast is providing outplacement support as well for workers moving on. Scott said in a memo to staff that viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we have made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations effective immediately. G4 originally launched in 2002 from NBC Universal and Dish Network and featured a range of hosts like Olivia Munn, Kevin Piara, and Chris Hardwick, among others. The first iteration of G4 shut down in 2014 before plans were announced in 2020 to revive the network once again. G4's new one included some of the original channel's most popular shows, including X-Play and Attack of the Show, albeit with new hosts and updated format. One of the new hosts, Foscarin, who departed the network a few weeks ago, listed off some of the affected G4 staffers on Twitter. They are prime candidates for new roles at other companies, Foscarin said.
Hey, Triple J. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Can you hold on for? You can still read, but I'm going to be back in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Continue reading.
All right. The new G4 was built as a digital-first channel that also aired on linear TV through Verizon Fios, Cox, and Xfinity TV, and also streamed on Philo. G4 also had a deal with Twitch for promotional activities, and some content was produced specifically for social media sites and YouTube. 2022 has seen a good amount of upheaval and changes within the gaming media landscape. Before this, layoffs hit sites like Fanbyte and Game Informer. All right, so with G4, I have to say it. I'm probably going to be reiterating what Review Tech USA said, but G4, no one was pining for this to come back. It was basically a nostalgia trip. I loved G4 back when it was on. What was that channel? Esquire. Yeah, it changed to G4 changed to Esquire, but they kept X-Play and Attack of the Show until 2013, 2014, when Esquire revamped the whole lineup.
I'm back.
Okay. So G4, but the thing is, no one in 2020 was saying, "Oh, I wish X-Play was back. I wish Attack of the Show was back." While it was only 6 or 7 years, people had moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And with shows, with websites like YouTube and Dailymotion and BitChute and Rumble and many more that you could probably name, they didn't need a company to do a show like this, especially when they weren't doing anything that was attracting new viewers. You would think if, a gaming show or shows about gaming with a great budget from a big network, they would have done something that other YouTubers could not. But they didn't. But apparently, I heard like a special guest host cost a lot of money, like 25, 30 grand. That's a rumor.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But again, what G4 was not doing anything different from when they first were around, and they were not doing anything different that you can get from other people, from hundreds or thousands of other people to this day for much cheaper. What do you have to say about the G4 shutting down 11 months after we launched?
It has to shut down altogether. Good riddance, right? There's Olivia. Wasn't that Olivia Munn? What's that? The Frost woman? She ruined it just from her words alone. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have no freedom of speech or shouldn't speak out, whatever. But if you're in a company that discusses games and it surrounds itself around that these gamers that are men, and these gamers are like under a certain age, and they have their own little income going on. They're paying for the cable services back then, and they're paying for the membership on the YouTube channel right now, regardless how many weeks, if not months. You kind of like don't tackle too much your audience or the people surrounding that kind of audience, because that's the mainline audience. You can't just that's a niche audience right there you're attacking. Once you attack them, once you discredit them, discourage them from watching your G4 TV of 2022, good luck trying to have it come back altogether over the next few months, let alone at all. And one woman can destroy a lot of things, and I see that it's just not so sexist at first, but it seems that way at first. It's like, wow, that's just like, who'd hire Frost? I mean, who? It's like
where did she come from?
Yeah.
What rock did she crawl out from under?
Yeah, like she knew she's on a video gaming platform or a gaming related platform, knowing that it's out, people going out there for how many months and years watching content like this on YouTube for how many months and years of sex and drugs and violence and rock and roll. And yes, that's a bad thing to overall in society, but it is what it is that makes the entertainment go round. It's just money goes round, people, and you once they destroy the sex appeal, the innuendos, the comedy, and all the good stuff about G4 TV. It's all a matter of time. Look what happened now. Now it's completely shut down. They wasted tens of thousands on $100,000 on G4, and it could have been just stuck in a niche audience type of manner worth like 5 people as a staff, and then take shows, maybe a couple of shows, and that's about it. Don't turn into this real reinvigoration of G4 TV if you're not going to put in that effort to make it like G4 TV. Now, I will admit, I personally myself didn't watch G4 TV when I was younger because I didn't have the proper cable services in my area or didn't have the money to tell as a family. And the only time I seen them was on at GameStop, especially around the time of when Final Fantasy 13 came out, like in 2010 of March. So that was like, interesting to watch it whenever I can. For Final Fantasy 13, Halo Reach, games like Halo 3. Well, Halo 3, I got the console and the game at Toys R Us, so it's a different atmosphere back then especially. And at the time, it was relevant, Toys R Us. So yeah, it's like these people are taking over as certain aspects of certain entertainment industries, like gaming and tabletop games and movies, certain movie aspects, and they're just ruining it, from Star Wars to G4 TV now. And it's like, why are these people are in charge of these entertainments knowing that they're ruining the overall experience as well as the money, the long-term usage, the long-term proceeds of the matter? Like, this is something you don't fuck with. And I understand, it's about being hip and involved with activism and advocacy and making the change in the world, things that matter. But do it at a proper flow. Don't just shove it in people's throats and faces thinking that it's going to, succeed. I admit, yes, personally myself, I will mix politics and games together for God knows how many years, but that's my shtick. I developed that since I was like as early as like 20, 19 years old easily when I was that young. I'm 35 right now, guys. So it's like I've been at this, doing YouTube at least since 2006. So especially since 2009 when I started mixing game music, game culture with politics a little bit. And I wanted to select a few people in my neighborhood, if not in the world, can all understand where I come from, what I do for my own little side job or my side gig, you want to call it, if not my activism or advocacy. So it's G4 definitely, it's gonna be missed.
I don't think G4 will be missed, but what people remember is when Frost was doing that rant and Adam Sessler clapping along like a seal like this. That was awful. That was cringe. That's not a way you introduce yourselves. I was hoping to see Morgan Webb came back. She didn't come back for this. I see why now she didn't, because she's actually working on something else. But I thought her and Adam had great chemistry when they did X-Play when G4 was a TV network. I saw X-Play a few times. Mm-hmm. I thought they had great chemistry together. And I also think that might have been another problem. I don't think the new set of hosts had chemistry together like the old network, like the old TV shows did.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have good chemistry, you're not going to put together an entertaining show.
Oh, yeah.
So G4, it's something that should have never been revived. Hopefully it'll stay buried now. And any G4 fans can just and appreciate the nostalgia of it in their minds, because what came back was not the G4 that people remember. Ready to move on?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Sky Captain Charisma said G4 reboot lasted longer than the UK's Prime Minister. I don't know anything about UK politics, so I'm not going to touch that one.
I get where it comes from, okay. Because of Boris Johnson, he left. So. What's that?
You want to explain it before we move on, or
if I understood properly from his message that you mentioned, I'm not looking at the chat right this second, but he must have referred to Boris Johnson because he only stayed in there for about a few years. So not even a few years, actually like 4 years and not 3 years. So it's to my awareness, that is. So yeah, right on to that guy who posted that. So.
All right. Next topic. EA shutting down servers for loads of very good, very old games. Please do not remind me that Mirror Edge is 14 years old. Electronic Arts has moved quietly to begin the process of shutting down the online servers for a bunch of old games.
Some of them are absolute classics, some you would be forgiven for having forgotten all about. First spotted by True Achievements, the list includes favorites like Mirror's Edge, 2010's NBA Jam Reboot, and Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, the Tim Curry, the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism one. Shutting down the servers will have a few impacts. First, it'll obviously close down the multiplayer servers for any game that supports the feature, though games like Red Alert 3 still have an active community, already have fan-supported workarounds for that. Secondly, it'll stop you from getting any achievements you have an online component. NBA Jam has a couple that require you to play online, so they'll be locked out for good once the servers go down. Thirdly, and most despairingly, going down the list has made me realize that Mirror's Edge and Red Alert 3 are now 14 years old, that the Mercenary games were great and are sadly missed, and that 2010's NBA Jam Reboot is now almost as old to us as it was to the original NBA Jam. Yeah, via IGN, here's the full list of games that are about to be affected. You can see previous fallen heroes at the site where EA keeps a record. All right, so these shut down 2 days ago was Army of Two, the 40th Day, Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel, and Dragon Age Origins, the multiplayer screenshot server. November 9th, these will be the server shutdown. Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, Command and Conquer 3, Tiburon Wars, Command and Conquer 3, Kane's Wrath, and Mercenaries 2, World in Flames. On November 30th, Ore Rush will be shut down. Next year, on January 19th, Mirror's Edge servers will be shut down, NBA Jam on Fire Edition, Gatling Gears, and Shank 2 will be shut down. The online server, the servers basically for these games. Have you played any of these games?
Well, I heard good things about Command and Conquer over the years, not decades. Because Command and Conquer, if I refer to the one I remember by, that's like a 25 plus year old game right there. And
yeah.
I heard good things about it. I actually want to buy it last year or two when it was released back for like $20 give or take on Steam. That is so. But with EA specifically, if you refer to EA, obviously. They've been shutting down games over the years, God knows for how long. Since as early as 2016, 2018, give or take. They already shut down Medal of Honor servers, like Medal of Honor Allied Assault, Pacific Assault, perhaps I think it's called Vanguard, if I recall correctly. Could be some other Medal of Honor game. But they shut down all those games, and I was playing online for hours. Specifically, Allied Assault. I played that for at least an hour a night, 2 hours a night for a few weeks, a few months almost. That was back until it was like 2015, 2014, and they just shut down the servers altogether by around that like 2019, 2018, give or take. And now obviously they're doing another round, EA, of shutting down older games as well, like the Command and Conquer. So it's like, people still play these games to this day, even after the servers shut down by EA. So whoever's propping up these new servers connected it to the old games somehow through, mods and other add-ons, things that matter. That's a good job for them, but, I wish EA could think about game preservation and find some way to correlate with the gamers, make some ambassadors, make some, entities that preserve games. But, and to think about it, they can put it into a membership service. Whereas, like, if after a certain time they want to shut down servers, it'll be like propped up by the membership of some other third party, and then it'll be like over the next God knows how many years, not decades, after the original shutdown of the game from the original companies, that will be like the add-on or the mod and type of matters with matter. That's how I think of it as. But yeah, EA gotta stop doing that after a while. But other than that, I understand the feeling sometimes. It's like, you want to shut it down, just shut it down because it's not making them money, and that's the one reason why they do it. So
yeah, keep in mind some of these games are over a decade old. NBA Jam 2010. I honestly forgot NBA Jam had a reboot in 2010. Command and Conquer Red Alert. I don't think anybody has to worry. Like they said, players are going to create their own servers and keep that game running. So, if the community's big enough, they'll be able to fund servers so people can continue playing those games. So, I don't think that that game is going to stop being played online when EA shuts down their servers. I think the servers are just going to switch somewhere else. Shank 2, I actually had that on my PS3. I didn't even know that had an online mode, to be honest.
Yeah, I played Shank. I played Shank beforehand. The first Shank game, I played that before.
I never played the first Shank game. I only have the sequel, but I did not know that game had an online mode. I saw Dashy X play Shank 2 on his PS3 years ago. This is, back in the early 2010s. And I was like, wow, that game looks great. I think I'll buy it. It's a side-scrolling game. It's fun. But like I said, I didn't even know that game had an online mode until I read this article. So,
yeah.
So, like I said, at least the single-player mode. This is only gonna affect the online modes. If a game has a single-player or a couch co-op mode, that will still be intact. Hopefully,
yes.
I only say that because WWE 2K20, when they shut down the servers for that game almost reverted back to what it was.
Yeah.
And I like matches actually play out in slow motion. I actually ended up not even playing 2K20 anymore, WWE 2K20 anymore, just because the game, the matches were playing out in slow motion. I was like, really? This is what shutting down the servers did to this game? So but then again, WWE 2K18, their servers shut down and the game still runs fine. So
yeah,
it's probably how WWE 2K20 was handled. Yeah, so I mean, if you enjoy playing these games online, you got, depending on the game, it's either been shut down or you got a couple months at most. But like I said, I don't even know how many people are still playing NBA Jam's Reboot or any of the other games besides Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Only got a couple more stories for tonight. Hold on. Sky Captain Charisma says he has not played these games that I mentioned. It's funny as hell that the developers of Shank got its customers not once but twice. Shank 2. Good one. All right, next story. Xbox Game Pass is a huge treat for horror fans this month. A Plague Tale Requiem gets a Day 1 edition along with The Happiness of Frog Detective. It was only a couple weeks ago that we updated our guide to the best Halloween games on Game Pass. So naturally, Xbox has gone and made it all out of date by announcing a slew of spoopy titles it's added to the subscription service. With names like Amnesia and Soma, get ready for the top-level Ghiblies. Oh, and A Plague Tale Requiem is on it today. A Plague Tale Requiem, the sequel to 2019's action-adventure misery Innocence, is the headline news. Once more having you flee Fred's Inquisition soldiers and the Black Plague, and reaffirming that Game Pass Day 1 release power that PlayStation refuses to touch. That should have appeared in your account already, filled with all the desperate human horror rather than the fun sort of Halloweeny spooks. In the latter department comes the wonderful Amnesia, the Dark Descent on October 20th, a first-person horror that's still terrifying over a decade since its first release and here in its more recently upgraded console version. It's genuinely one of the scariest games I've ever played, with its incredibly hands-on physics that has you pulling at drawers and doors, always expecting the worst. It arrives alongside all its sequels and also 2020's follow-up Amnesia Rebirth. Oh, and another terrifying first-person survival horror by the same team, Frictional, called Soma. That's a lot of scares. Obviously, people will be pleased to see high school RPG Persona 5 Royal added, and indeed indie shooter Gunfire Reborn. But I'm most excited to see Frog Detective, the entire mystery arriving on the PC's Game Pass. If you've never played the first two chapters of this astonishingly funny adventure series, then you're in for such a treat. They're joined by the brand new third and final chapter all on the 27th, and I'm psyched. They're the most incredible mix of bizarre, cute, and hilarious. So here's the list. 4 days ago, A Plague Tale Requiem came out all 3 services, Cloud, PC, and Xbox Series. October 20th, 2 days ago, Amnesia Collection came out for all 3 services. Amnesia Rebirth did. Phantom Abyss, only the game preview came out. And Soma came to all 3 services. Yesterday, Persona 5 Royal hit all 3 services. Coming in 5 days is Frog Detective, the entire mystery, the PC only. But Gunfire Reborn and Signalis will be on all 3 services. As ever, Xbox giveth, but Xbox taketh awayeth. So we're losing a bunch of games too. Gone on Halloween are the following: Alan Wake American Nightmare, leaving console and PC. Backbone, leaving cloud, console, and PC. Bassmaster Fishing 2022, leaving all 3 services. Non-Guns Doppelganger Edition, leaving all 3 services. So is Project Wingman, Second Extinction, Sniper Elite 4, leaving console and cloud, and The Forgotten City, leaving all 3 services. Which is terrible timing, Alan. Yeah, so what do you think of the games that are coming and the games that are leaving?
They're not that too much of my radar. I will admit that. It's the only thing that comes close to standing out is what the Plague Tale. Oh, what's coming to the Game Pass? You said,
Plague
right?
Tale Requiem, yeah.
Yeah.
That came like 4 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. So that thing you don't want to play again. Not again, but to play the sequel. Excuse me. I want to play. I want to play the Xbox version of the Plague Tale Innocence, the first Plague Tale game. But that's
you're
going
gonna have to buy it from like eBay or something. Then.
Well, here's the thing, though. I want to play on the Game Pass on the Xbox. When after it left, I saw the Plague Tale Innocence on sale for about, say, $10, $15, give or take. So I bought the computer version, the Steam version. So, yeah, I'll try to play that sometime in the next few days. That's if it's compatible with my computer, because the computer I have right now, it's not an old computer itself. It's just that the model itself is old. So it's like take about 10 years old right now. So,
well, it runs Windows 10, right?
Yeah, but I have no GPU, and I really don't have enough RAM.
Okay.
I only have about 8 gigabytes of RAM, so.
Okay, so.
And I have no GPU, like I said, so.
Alright, well, I mean, A Plague Tale Requiem, that's coming, like I said. Also, I think I've discovered that I will be able to play it. I tried playing it when it first came out on the 18th. Couldn't do it. When I pulled up the game card, it said not compatible, where it said, normally say install. Mm-hmm. So they mentioned it on the Xbox dashboard today. Play Plague Tale Requiem through the cloud. Okay. So I pulled that up, and apparently I could do it through the cloud on Xbox One. But since I don't have an Xbox Series, I just can't install the game.
Okay.
So if you're in the same boat as me at Dr. Games 101, if you have a normal Xbox One and you haven't been able to upgrade to an Xbox Series, if a game is on Game Pass and it's the Xbox Series S or X version, as long as the game is compatible to play through the cloud, you should still be able to play it.
All right.
So I'll probably be playing A Plague Tale Requiem sometime tomorrow, if that's true, because they were ready to let me play through the cloud. So I'm guessing that's their workaround. But yeah, these other games, they're not really like Amnesia, Soma. I really don't remember anything about them.
Okay.
Do you know anything about these games, or?
Well, not necessarily. I never heard of them really pop into my head right this second. And not only that, I never really saw them being put onto the Game Pass or Game Gold, really.
Well, they're coming, so we wouldn't have seen them too recently.
Yeah, but usually Xbox Live or the Xbox homepage or the Xbox console, they usually have like a This Week at Xbox recap. I try to watch that every week for the last several months now, easily. And
okay.
It's hard to keep up.
I just wait for these articles. So
Yeah, but Major Nelson, at first it was Major Nelson who does it every week, but now it sounds like some new guy saying in the background about what's going on with the Xbox and all, so.
Okay, yeah. And unfortunately, Alan Wake's American Nightmare is leaving on Halloween. Kind of weird, because that's a game that's perfect for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't played Alan Wake's American Nightmare, you might want to get on that if you're interested in Alan Wake. I will say the game, I beat it in about like 4 or 5 hours, so it's not a long game.
Right.
It's not as long as the original Alan Wake. So, if you got a free day to kill, nothing to do, you could probably finish it in a whole day.
Oh, yeah.
So, but Alan Wake American Nightmare is leaving like in 9 days, so.
Just in time for Halloween, pretty much.
Yeah, it's leaving on Halloween Day. That's the weird thing.
It's right on time, too, because if they waited till like November 15th, then that'd be a good idea to play the game from Halloween night until
for Halloween. I mean, they should do something special for Alan Wake American Nightmare, not take it away.
Or at least have an Alan Wake special on the first game of Alan Wake,
Yeah. But, ready to move on to the last topic?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me just check OBS. Sky Captain Charisma says, Soma sounds like a game the Click would enjoy while playing away from the building. Yeah. Soma sounds that, yeah. Just in case Dr. Games 101, you'd get this since you're a wrestling fan like I am. The Click were Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon, Triple H, and the 1-2-3 Kid. And Soma, I think, is an alcoholic drink also.
Okay.
Just in case you didn't get it.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I missed out on the good old wrestling days of WWE back between the years of 1998 to 2002. Somewhat after 2000, I saw some of WWE wrestling. But I was watching WCW from 97, 96 until about 2001. So, yeah, it's those were good times back then wrestling.
Yeah. All right, final story for tonight from Kotaku. Red Dead Redemption's PlayStation Plus delisting is another bad omen for digital libraries.
Oh, yeah.
Rockstar's 2010 Cowboy Sim, a high watermark of the 360 PS3 generation, is being reduced to digital dust. If you've held off on building up a digital library of games, the original Red Dead Redemption is here to remind you that you might not be missing out after all. Rockstar's 2010 open world western was just removed from PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus after 6 years, and as the industry moves to include more subscription and streaming services, it's not likely to get any better. As first spotted by Twitter news account at Videotech, the original Red Dead Redemption evaporated from Sony's PlayStation streaming titles under PlayStation Plus, first included in 2016 as part of the formerly named PlayStation Now service. Red Dead is notable for having never received a remaster, despite the celebration it and its zombified expansion earned. Sony's streaming service remained the only way to play the game on PlayStation consoles after the PS3. Gamers will now have to hunt down a disc for a compatible Xbox console or dive into the waters of emulation to enjoy John Marston's debut story. Playing the original Red Dead Redemption via backwards compatibility on Xbox is perhaps the most direct and best way to play it currently. The game received an enhanced update on Microsoft's console a few years ago, upping the resolution to 4K on Xbox Series X and 1440p on Series S. That said, hopefully you got access to a good physical copy if you don't want the digital version, which is still only available in Xbox's storefront. Who could blame you at this point? With the initial release date of 2010, scratches might be the least of your concern, given how susceptible aging DVDs are to disc rot. For those willing to roll up their sleeves with a totally legal copy of the game, RPCS3 offers a path to emulating the experience on PC. For everyone else, this is a reminder that hanging on to the games you like is sometimes worth it. While we like to hope these digital services we pay into every month will keep these games accessible, today is a reminder that such hopes can be dashed real fast. It's almost as if these services are more about profit streams than legacy preservation. So what do you think about Red Dead Redemption being removed from PlayStation's online service?
We're talking about the first Red Dead Redemption, right?
Yep.
Bad idea. I personally have never played Red Dead Redemption games yet. I could have gone on sale for about $50? But that was back then, of course, and I didn't want to take the risk of spending my extra money, so I did think I didn't do that because I had other obligations going on, financial obligations. But yeah, that's a bad idea because I hate the digital. It's a good thing to have digital games and all as a convenience, and also proper storage, proper space and everything in your room, whatever makes that matter. But the bad side to it is that now Xbox, now whoever's in charge of the gaming console, can delete it at any given time, and you'll have no say in the matter, even if you paid for it. I, for one, just looked at my Xbox game library just now, and I used to have like 400 games to choose from. Now I'm down to about 300, not even. And it's like, what the hell? All 100 games just disappeared? And these are mostly Xbox One games of like Game Pass and games with Gold last time I checked. And also, I had a movie of Bayonetta 3 again, but Bayonetta, there was a movie of Bayonetta, an animated movie. I bought that for about not even $5 or $10, and that's gone from the library as well. It's no longer available. So I'm like, a shocker. I tried to contact Xbox earlier today about the matter, but when they got closed, they don't have their services available. The support services are on the phone right now. So, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Like any content of any sort that you purchase, especially purchase, can be deleted, and you will not know until it's too late. So it's like, people are not going to have a major turnoff with PlayStation, just go to Xbox, or just to get on Steam, PC, pretty much, and just like hanging up that way. But it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Red Dead Redemption, I don't think, I was just checking price charting while you were talking. People, according to price charting, Red Dead Redemption is not a game you have to worry about. The loose version of the disc for PS3 is going for $8. A loose copy of the Xbox 360 is going for $9.
Okay.
So it's not a terribly expensive game to replace if you don't have it currently. Really, Undead Nightmare is a little harder to come by. But if so Red Dead Redemption, it's a shame that, but you know what? This is also a problem if digital distribution becomes the only way to buy video games in the future. While it's convenient, it also means these games could disappear unless you already have them and installed.
Oh yeah.
Usually if they're installed, they'll still be safe, even if they're taken off the marketplace. But yeah, these discs that games come on are backup, and if digital distribution does take over as the only way to get games in the future, this is going to be a big problem.
It's just like just like those several other games. What's that called? There's this one game I just had thought in my head the other minute, and it was a point where you could just download it and that's it. You don't have to worry. But now it's like, if you're on the disc, good luck trying to get a copy of it, online. That is through the digital means. So
yeah, so Metal Gear Solid had that old.
That's the one. Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, actually, to be more exact. Yeah. The one I played the other month or two, or earlier this year, that you could get for it's on sale for about $10. Now they got rid of it in the store, on Xbox Store. And I and a few others, whoever bought it, can actually re-download it and play it still. So.
Yeah, when they delisted Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, although Konami said they were just renewing the rights to the historical footage that they used in the video game. So I mean, these games, unless you have them on disc, they could be gone, unless you have them installed. Like I said, I installed Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare on my PS3,
So I just need an actual Red Dead Redemption disc to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could access the DLC. But, yeah, these games, like I said, this is a problem with digital distribution if that becomes the only way to get games in the future.
Oh, yeah.
That's why digital distribution taking over completely will not be a good thing.
Unless if people keep on par with the company, tell them that this is my stuff, my items, my digital content, and that's it. You can't take that away from me. Unless you give me a refund, there's going to be problems. Lawsuits galore. Copyright infringements, consumer rights violations, and fines by the FCC, if not the FTC, one or the other. And it's not good. It's going to look ugly in the long term.
Yeah, so, I mean, but the thing is, like I said, if it's installed on your hard drive, like if it's an Xbox One game, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If it's, if you have a disc game, as long as you take care of the disc, I never even knew disc rot was something to worry about.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, wait a second, disc rot? You're telling me? I understand that things age or whatever, but usually back in the day, back with the PS1, PS2, PS3, the hard copy disc is like yours to keep, and it will always last for decades. Now it doesn't really last for decades. I hear it as disc rot. I'm like, what the hell? That doesn't make any sense. But then again, said age and time and things matter, and conditions, elements. So.
Yeah, I mean, but it also takes, it's also what condition the games are kept in. Like, I remember one time I was getting a SmackDown versus Raw game. I forget which year. I think it might have been 2011. And I took a bunch of games to GameStop to trade in. And the guy at GameStop was checking the condition of all these games. He takes the disc out, looks at the back, and he's like, "Wow, these games are in great condition." And that's what he was saying. Just like, "Wow, I can't believe how good condition this disc is." My younger brother gave me his copy of SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 for the Wii to trade it in for whatever I could get for it. I had like 6-7 other games with me, and I think it was SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 I got. Mm-hmm. And it turns out I had so many games that I was trading in that the guy not only gave me the game I was buying, he also gave me back the money that I had put as a reservation fund. He's like, "Yeah, you just paid off the entire game.
Nice.
Here's your $10 back."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so I mean, disc rot, it might not be I've never even heard of it. It might be all dependent on how well you take care of your games, physical copies of your games.
We'll see in the next 25 to 50 years, see if disc rot is a really true issue. Because by then, after how many discs that I have, from whether it's DVDs, Blu-rays, hell, even those big giant ones, the ones from 1980s and all, if there's such disc out there still exists, we'll see the true conditioning of them, even though you never used them in years, or you're about to use them right now, or use them in 50 years, whatever. Because I myself still got movies and DVDs and other video-related formats that I haven't got just to watch yet after all the years of buying them. And I say it just for the sake of collection. The monster movies from 1950s, 60s, and 70s, that was a set for like $10 on sale on Amazon. Now they probably sell it for more than $30 now, I heard. Last time I checked. There's this chick flick packaging, like a bundle of movies from 1990s and 80s of hot chicks in like skimpy outfits and then fighting action and stuff like that, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. That type of stuff. It's called something gun or chick gun, the collection, and that's like $6 on Amazon for about $6, $7. Now it's up a bit, and also not many people are buying them still, so it's kind of weird. It's just a matter of time to see what's going to happen. So so I'm buying them right now and see what happens, how much it will be valuable in the future, and see, hopefully disc rot will not be a big factor in reducing those values of those copies.
With the PS1, 2, and 3, and like Xbox original, and like Nintendo Wii and Wii U, I really don't think we have to worry, because if disc rot was really a big problem,
we would have experienced it by now. You know, I could get a SmackDown game from like 20 years ago, and it will work just fine as long as the previous owner took good care of it. How with this back, he wasn't in the case when he wasn't playing it or whatever. You know, so I really don't think disc rot's going to be a huge problem. I think scratches actually would be worse because like the PS2 laser, that could scratch your disc while I was reading the disc. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple games wrecked that way.
What we should worry about, though, also, is the cartridges from, like, N64, Nintendo NES, and Super Nintendo, and, you know, those systems. Like, those are, I have concerns with, because, yes, I can still play my Super Nintendo games, no problem, because I've been using them for the last, anywhere between, like, 6 or 7 years. But, N64 games, I haven't played in at least 3-4 years. I'm trying to upload the cartridges, I'm trying to do everything with No Mercy copy that I had. Couldn't play it still after all these weeks. Last time I tried to play the N64 games.
Q-tip?
What's the question?
Did you use a Q-tip?
No, I got Q-tips though, so I just want Q-tips. So hopefully I'll figure out how to do it cleanly.
Just hold the game upside down. Rub the Q-tip like there's like that little like the pins in the middle of the game. Rub a Q-tip on the top of the pins. Then like take the other side of the Q-tip, rub it on the bottom. The Q-tip might come out black, but the game should work after that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if has been used in years, like it will still work, you know. But that's a worry about the fact that it can rot as well too. The cartridges. That's what I was told by the younger gamers who are into the retro gaming. That is so.
Okay, well that I've also never experienced.
Yeah, because I ever noticed why after like how many years you ever played the N64 or a Super Nintendo game, and all of a sudden you kept blowing it, you kept cleaning it, you kept blowing it again, cleaning again, and it's still not working because it's the condition of the cartridges just got not messed up, but it's just been the agent over the elements. Even if you put it in a container that's sealed up with plastic and everything else in between, you know, it's still like being aged and stuff because time still progressing, and all things that are living and even inanimate or inorganic are age as well. So, you know.
Right. I've had that problem with original Nintendo games, but like I said, Nintendo 64 games usually Q-tip, just rub a Q-tip on the top and the bottom of the pins, and like you really gotta worry like when you use a Q-tip and the Q-tip comes out clean, and the game still doesn't work. Mm-hmm. But like if you never used a Q-tip on No Mercy, I bet you like if you clean it tonight, you'll probably pull out the Q-tip and be like, ugh.
Yeah, I cannot wait until my Nintendo 64 works. Though here's also another factor too. Either my mom dropped it or I dropped it when I was younger, and my original N64 with the expansion pack that I had in it, it broke, like the switch of it itself broke off. However, but the inside of the N64, you can switch it with like a little not sharp object, but with like a key or something just enough to fit in between the switch itself and switch the other switch. So that's pretty cool that it still works. But the one I bought, the other N64 I bought the other 5-7 years ago, I think I threw it out by mistake with the trash. That was a working one though. I don't know how I did that, but I did.
Yeah, really. It's like you would think the trash is so heavy. What's in here?
Yes, I was not right in the head back then. And I was off of medication too. I was like seeing things and really hearing things. And it's like, you know, life's just like, wow. And I was not smoking weed, never smoked marijuana, never drank as much. And if I did drink, it's like maybe like a quarter of a bottle of wine. That's about a cup of wine. Like all this stuff is like and now for the last 2 years now, I've been smoking marijuana officially. It's the vaping version. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like what came over you, Dr. Gaines? I just don't know. You know, my mind is a powerful thing, guys, and if you're not careful, it can make you do things.
Well, it's possible for anyone to have a brain fart.
Yes, but lots of brain farts. I mean, I was starting to age anyway. I was like, 29, 28 years old when this happened, so, you know.
Sky Captain Charisma in the chat room said, "Really, and I mean really, wish I kept all my old Xbox 360 games now."
Yeah, because now they're
Yeah,
valuable.
I can relate.
Now they're valuable because now I'm hearing that games like Body Count for the Xbox 360 and PS3, for the Xbox 360 version, they're asking like 35, $40. I'm like, yes, I know it's a brand new and all, but it's like, Body Count, not many people bought the game. It wasn't as popular. And the reason why I bought it was on my birthday.
Oh, that might be one reason. I mean, if it wasn't popular.
Yeah, and I bought it on my birthday because it was a release on my birthday, August 30th, 2011. So that was like, what, my 24th, was it my 23rd, if not my 24th birthday? So, yeah.
Oh, what did you say the name of the game was? Body Count?
Yeah, the spiritual successor to Black.
Because I typed in Body Count on price charting. The only game that came up was a PC game.
Yeah, the 360 game was on Amazon selling at the time that I checked, was selling for about $30. That's what I checked, at least.
Okay. It's just weird because I mean, yeah, a lot of these games. When I sold off all my games, because I used to have a collection of like 500-600 games when I lived in New York. I sold off a lot of them. There's only, but to tell you the truth, there's only like a fraction of them that I want back. Like, I sold off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time for $50. I don't really want that one back because I already beat it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would I play it again by myself?
Yeah.
So, but there's there's a bunch of retro games I wish I had just hung on to until I completed them. But then again, I made a lot of money selling them.
Yeah.
So, that Propeller arena game, I ended up putting it just on auction because I didn't know what to let it go for. Someone bought it for almost $90.
That's pretty good. You made at least a good $30 of profits by then, right?
I made even more than that because like the guy who sold me the Dreamcast collection, like one of the games was like $20 and like the rest were at like $5. I paid him like $40, so like $90 was profit. $90 paid for that whole collection, gave me some profit, meaning all the other games I sell from that collection would be straight profit.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but then again, it's Propeller Arena is not a common game. It was a game that was completed and then canceled before its release.
Okay.
So, anyway, yeah, so I guess, you know, keep on to your games, but you know, I also think if your game's just gonna sit on the shelf collecting dust, why not sell it?
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, anything you wanted to cover before we get out of here for tonight?
I just want to say to those who are listening on my end for the last 2 hours now, you might be hearing a lot of crickling or pop-in noises or jump noises or whatever it's called for my recordings because I'm off my headset. So sorry for the sound difficulties anyway. Hopefully by the next episode it should be fixed and to get a new headset altogether. So thanks for listening.
Oh, I got to check. Our next podcast, just let me check. Our next podcast will be on November 5th, 2 weeks from tonight, which is on a Saturday. We'll be trying to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, as always.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess, so until, obviously, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/rapperjjj. I play Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 every Wednesday. I have not been streaming the last couple of nights, just been really tired, too tired to stream. But I hope to get back into it tomorrow. Do you have anything planned for tomorrow?
That's why you need coffee, my friend. I'm drinking it now, coffee. Chock full of nuts.
If I drink coffee, I would not get to sleep tonight.
Okay.
That caffeine will keep me up. I used to drink that in the morning.
Sometimes coffee would go to sleep. Surprisingly, when I was younger, when I was 20 years old, working for a department store, for the furniture department store. I think someone knows what I'm about the company already, but yeah, I was drinking coffee every night while playing Halo 3, and it makes you feel sleepy after a couple of hours of drinking it. So, more than that, it's just from exhaustion altogether. I was trying to keep myself up, trying to play some Halo 3 before 11 my time. So.
Well, chamomile tea would put me to sleep after a night of not being unsuccessful on trying to pick up chicks. But that's a story for another time.
Yes.
But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this stream, and hopefully I'll see you on my next stream. I don't know what I'll be playing tomorrow, but I do plan to be streaming sometime tomorrow night. Until then, good night, everyone.
Goodbye.